Good morning and dandavats to all the devotees.
Lavanya Mahidiri Ki Jai.
Jai Gurudev. Well, everyone's busy, so you got me today. And most probably for the next few weeks. Everyone's going on parikram. Okay, so we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, Volume 5. The chapter is The Lord Tastes Nectar, which is chapter
16.
Chapter 16. I'll just continue. I don't remember what it was yesterday. Following the indications of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda brought the prasad of Lord Jagannath. The Lord sent some to Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave shares of the prasad to Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar Goswami and all the other devotees. As they tasted the uncommon sweetness and fragrance of the prasad, everyone's mind was struck with wonder. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, these ingredients such as candy, camphor, black pepper, cardamom, cloves, butter, spices, and licorice are all material. Everyone has tasted these material substances before. However, the Lord continued, in these ingredients there are extraordinary tastes and uncommon fragrances. Just taste them and see the difference in the experience. Apart from the taste, even the fragrance pleases the mind and makes one forget any other sweetnesses besides its own. Therefore, it is to be understood that the spiritual nectar of Krishna's lips has touched these ingredients and transferred them all to their spiritual qualities. An uncommon, greatly enchanting fragrance and tastes that make one forget all other experiences are attributed to Krishna's lips. This prasad has been made available only as a result of many pious activities. Now taste it with great faith and devotion. Loudly chanting the name of Hari, all of them tasted the prasad. As they tasted it, their minds became mad in the ecstasy of love. In ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Rai to recite some verses. Thus Ramananda Rai spoke as follows. O hero of charity, please deliver unto us the nectar of your lips. That nectar increases lusty desires for enjoyment and diminishes lamentation in the material world. Kindly give us the nectar of your lips, which are touched by your transcendentally vibrating flute. For that nectar makes all human beings forget all other attachments. And that is a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-14. Upon hearing Ramananda Rai quote this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Then he recited the following verse, which had been spoken by Srimati Radharani in great anxiety. My dear friend, the all-surpassing nectar from the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can be attained only after many, many pious activities. For the beautiful gopis of Vrindavan, that nectar vanquishes the desire for all other tastes. Madan and Mohan always choose pan that surpasses the nectar of heaven. He certainly increases the desires of my tongue. And this verse was found in the Govinda Lilamrita 8:8. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed by ecstatic loving emotions. Talking like a madman, he began to explain the meaning of the two verses. My dear lover, he said, let me describe some of the characteristics of your transcendental lips. They agitate the mind and body of everyone. They increase lusty desires for enjoyment, and they destroy the burden of material happiness and lamentation. And they make one forget all material tastes. The whole world falls under their control. They vanquish some shame, religion, and patience, especially in women. Indeed, they inspire madness in the minds of all women. Your lips would increase the greed of the tongue and thus attract it. Considering all this, we see that the activities of your transcendental lips are always perplexing. My dear Krishna, since you are a male, it is not very extraordinary that the attraction of your lips can disturb the minds of women. I am ashamed to say this, but your lips sometimes attract even your flute, which is also considered a male. It likes to drink the nectar of your lips and thus also forgets all other tastes. Aside from the conscious living beings, even unconscious matter is sometimes made conscious by your lips. Therefore, your lips are great magicians. Paradoxically, although your flute is nothing but dry wood, your lips make it drink their nectar. They create a mind and senses in the dry wood flute and give it transcendental bliss. That flute is a very cunning male who drinks again and again the taste of another male's lips. It advertises its qualities and says to the gopis, "Oh gopis, if you are so proud of being women, come forward and enjoy your property, the nectar of the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Thereupon the flute said angrily to me, "Give up your shame, fear, and religion, and come and drink the lips of Krishna. On that condition I shall give up my attachment for them. If you do not give up your shame and fear, however, I shall continuously drink the nectar of Krishna's lips. I am slightly fearful because you also have the right to drink that nectar, but as for others, I consider them like straw." The nectar of Krishna's lips, combined with the vibration of his flute, attracts all the people of the three worlds. However, if we gopis remain patient, out of respect for religious principles, the flute then criticizes us. The nectar of your lips and vibration of your flute join together to loosen our belts and induce us to give up shame and religion even before our superiors. As if catching us by our hair, they forcibly take us away and surrender us unto you to become your maidservants. Hearing of these incidents, people laugh at us. We have thus become completely subordinate to the flute. Well, this is all very high topics, so we better not dwell too much and try to make any more of it than what we're being told. This flute is nothing but a dry stick of bamboo, but it becomes our master and insults us in so many ways that it forces us into a predicament. What can we do but tolerate it? Mother of a thief cannot cry loudly for justice when the thief is punished. Therefore, we simply remain silent. That is the policy of these lips. Just consider the other injustices. Everything that touches those lips, including food, drink, or betel, becomes just like nectar. It is then called Krishna Hela, or remnants left by Krishna. Even after much prayer, the demigods themselves cannot obtain even a small portion of the remnants of such food. Just imagine the pride of those remnants. Only a person who has acted piously for many, many births and has thus become a devotee can obtain the remnants of such food. The betel chewed by Krishna is priceless, and the remnants of such chewed betel from his mouth are said to be the essence of nectar. The betel is a nut that is chewed by the Lord. When the gopis accept these remnants, their mouths become like his spittoons. Therefore, my dear Krishna, please give up all the tricks you have set up so expertly. Do not try to kill the life of the gopis with the vibration of your flute. Because of your joking and laughing, you are becoming responsible for the killing of women. It would be better for you to satisfy us by giving us the charity of the nectar of your lips. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking like this, his mind changed, his anger subdued, but his mental agitation increased. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "This nectar from Krishna's lips is supremely difficult to obtain, but if one gets some, his life becomes successful. When a person competent to drink that nectar does not do so, that shameless person continues his life uselessly. There are persons who are unfit to drink that nectar, but who nevertheless drink it continuously, whereas some who are suitable never get it and thus die of greed. It is therefore to be understood that such an unfit person must have obtained the nectar of Krishna's lips on the strength of some austerity." Again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Ramananda Rai, "Please say something, I want to hear." Understanding the situation, Ramananda Rai recited the following words of the gopis. See how much more there is. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for the gopis for whom the nectar is actually meant? The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river, on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. That's very sweet. Upon hearing the recitation of this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became absorbed in ecstatic love, and with a greatly agitated mind he began explaining its meaning like a madman. Some gopis said to other gopis, "Just see the astonishing pastimes of Krishna, the son of Vrajendra. He will certainly marry all the gopis of Vrindavan. Therefore the gopis know for certain that the nectar of Krishna's lips is their own property and cannot be enjoyed by anyone else." My dear gopis, fully consider how many pious activities this flute performed in his past life. We do not know what places of pilgrimage he visited, what austerities he performed, or what perfect mantra he chanted. This flute is utterly unfit because it is merely a dead bamboo stick. Moreover, it belongs to the male sex. Yet this flute is always drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, which surpasses nectarine sweetness of every description. Only in the hope of that nectar do the gopis continue to live. Although the nectar of Krishna's lips is the absolute property of the gopis, the flute, which is just as an insignificant stick, is forcibly drinking that nectar and loudly inviting the gopis to come to drink it also. Just imagine the strength of the flute's austerities and good fortune. Even great devotees drink the nectar of Krishna's lips after the flute has done so. When Krishna takes his bath in universally purified waters like the Jamuna and the Ganges of the celestial world, the great personalities of those rivers greedily and jubilee drink the remnants of the nectarine juice from his lips. Aside from the rivers, the trees standing on the banks like great ascetics and engaging in welfare activities for all living entities drink the nectar of Krishna's lips by drawing water from the river with their roots. We cannot understand why they drink like that. The trees on the bank of the Jamuna and Ganges are always jubilant. They appear to be smiling, with their flowers and shedding tears in the form of honey, flowing honey. Just as the forefathers of a Vaishnava son or grandson feel transcendental bliss, the trees feel blissful because the flute is a member of their family. The gopis considered, the flute is completely unfit for his position. We want to know what kind of austerities the flute executed, so that we may also perform the same austerities. Although the flute is unfit, he is drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips. Seeing this, we qualified gopis are dying of unhappiness. Therefore, we must consider the austerities of the flute underwent in his past life. While thus speaking like a madman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became full of ecstatic emotion. In the company of his two friends, Rup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai, he sometimes danced, sometimes sung, and sometimes became unconscious in ecstatic love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his days and nights in this way. Expecting the mercy of Swarup, Rupa, Sanatan, and Raghunath Das, and taking their lotus feet on my head, I, the most fallen Krishnadas, continue chanting the epic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is sweeter than the nectar of transcendental bliss. Jai. That's the end of that chapter. So tomorrow, or the next time, someone will be on chapter 17, the bodily transformations of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jai. Well, very beautiful. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anjalila, Volume 5, Chapter 16, Jai. And then we're going to read a little bit from... Actually, we're going to read one chapter because it's small. It's a really small, very lovely chapter, but I have to find it, so... actually, a lot of these... Okay, let's read this one. Chapter 6, this is Devotional Treasure Chest, some Sudha Maharaj, newly published. Chapter 6, Your Most Fortunate Position. Krishna is our master. We are not masters of this world. We are parts of the whole, and we have our respective duties towards the whole. Our responsibility is towards another plane of life, which is the most subtle plane. We are in a disease condition here, but when we become healthy, we will have a higher plane of living. This is the Vaishnava conception. There is a higher plane beyond the jurisdiction of misconception. There is a particular place for me within this universe. What is that? Currently, I'm suffering, serving the negative side, and all of my life I'm finding suffering. Birth, death, old age, and disease. But there is a conception where life is worth living, where there is something to live for. That position has been neglected everywhere, even in so many different conceptions of religious views. Our ideal is the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. But the realization of others is all of the Matsara, envious class. The egoistic school of men cannot give up their idea that I am master, I am Brahman. Our view is that I am indeed a part of that master element, but I am a subordinate part. I'm part of the subsidiary element. Still, they cannot think it out. They are Matsara, full of jealousy, and that is the root cause of their philosophy. But if they can give up their intrinsic concept of jealousy and become a little generous, they may come to know of an infinitely higher plane of existence. One must think, I was created of smaller stuff. Only with the help of that higher thing can I improve my condition. If I become Nirmatsara, completely pure in heart, and Krishnadas, a servant of Krishna, then I can enter into that higher plane, and my prospect is great. Others cannot accommodate that. It is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but they think, if I can become the dictator, then my fortune will be most high. A submissive attitude is needed. If I can become submissive to the dictatorial aspect of that higher plane, then I will be elevated, and I shall get the highest prospect, because that is the absolute good. So where there is absolute knowledge, absolute good, absolute everything, then why should I not submit to him? Knowledge, goodness, and everything. I've experienced that I am in such a vulnerable position, so it is suicidal not to accept that position of surrender. I am of a lower creation, and I find it at every step of my life. I am of limited creation, but at the same time, Higher creation may be there. Can I deny that? What right have I to deny that? Here also I have so much experience of so many things, high and low. There is a hierarchy from the stone to the scientist who is controlling the stone. So what is the trouble in believing that there is also a hierarchy in the original side, the higher side? What is wrong with that? Nirmatsara. Completely pure heart. But on the other side of those that think I am master, I am Brahman, there is a worse kind of education. They equate the finite with the infinite, and that is the hindrance to real progressive life. In naked terms, Mahaprabhu announced, Jivira Srupahaya, Krishna Nityadas. You are a slave to that highest entity. This is your innate, natural, intrinsic position. Yourself has such a relation with the Absolute. The Absolute with whom you are connected is so high that all attractive nature of the center is conscious love. You are a slave to that great force of love and beauty. You are so fortunate. You may thank your stars that you are so fortunate that you can be handled in any way by the absolute beauty, charm, and knowledge and everything. You are not disconnected by force. You are not barred from your birth, from entering that domain. You have your position there, and if you want your position there of that nature, you have your position there, and if you want your nature there, of what nature should you be? The most subordinate. As much as you have to go higher, you will have to accept the position of a subordinate. It is clear from your own present experience. You should be satisfied with that. Otherwise, like the garbage, you will be cast aside where the rubbish is thrown out here in this world. You are so limited, but you have such a high prospect. He is infinitely higher than you, but you have a position there. Will you not be prepared to accept that honorable position there? The Lord himself says, if you become a slave to him, then he also becomes a slave to you. What more do you need? What more do you expect? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said to Durvasa Muni, I am completely under the control of my devotees. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of all material desires, I sit only within the cause of their hearts. Or to speak of my devotees, even those who are my devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Krishna says, independently I have the position of controlling everything, but this Sharanagati, self-surrender, controls me. That is the way of affection, not by power, not by necessity, not by intrinsic experience, but only through love can you enter into that realm. You should be satisfied with that. What more do you want? The Lord is coming to be whipped by you, and you are not satisfied? Jai. That's the end of that chapter, very sweet. Chapter 6. This book's good because it's got lots of quite short chapters and they're all really powerful and amazing. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Okay, that's it for today's reading. We will sing Hari Haraya. I will sing Hari Haraya. Do you want to sing it? Yeah, if you want, of course. I thought you were busy, but you can do many things. Go. Mother Krishna is going to sing.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
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 Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Upaya Govindaram Sri Madhusudana.
Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath
Radha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhatta Raghunatha. Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana. Yaha Hoite Vijnana Sabisa Purana. Jai Gosaya Muritana Dasa. Hansabada Padadana Mora Panchagasa. Andiracharana Seve Bhaktisana Basa. Janame Janame Moho Yabilasa. Jai Goshaya Be Bhajakola Basa. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasa. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pati Majari Amana. Sri Guru Vaishnava Padma Kodiyasa. Harinam Sankirtana Kori Narottamodasa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Spakati Sri Guranga. Jai Sri Guru Guranga Sundarada Giri Hari Ki Jai. Jai Vishwabha Brahmam Sabhajavas. Sunda Govinda Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Vishwabha Brahmam Sabhajavas. Satsima Bhakti Rakshit Sudadev Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Vishwabha Brahmam Sabhajavas. Satsima Bhakti Santa Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vishwabha Brahmam Sabhajavas. Satsima Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Sazat Matachari Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. All the devotees on Paragram in India from all the world Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai, universal devotees ki jai. Nittai Gaura Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol.